right, mic check, testing 1, 2. Microphone check, 1, 2, 1, 2.
Attention, stations on the network. Our broadcast will begin in 10 minutes from my mark. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. That was your 10-minute time check, stations.
Dave. How are you? Hey, Dave, I got you guys.
Restaurant and Tap Room in Fort Collins. Welcome to the Coors Light Jay Norvell Coaches Show. Brought to you by Bank of Colorado. There's only one Coors Light. Mountain cold refreshment made to chill. Water Pick, a Church and Dwight company, and a proud corporate sponsor of the CSU Rams. CB and Potts Restaurant and Tap Room. This is where football fans celebrate. Meet your friends at CB and Potts, Collindale. Also by Canvas Credit Union, the official credit union of Colorado State Athletics. From CB and Potts Restaurant and Tap Room in Fort Collins, here is your host, Brian Roth.
All right, here we go. Very good Wednesday evening, and yes, football season is officially here. We welcome everybody to the Coors Light Jay Norvell Coaches Show. Brian Roth, your host, and how about a nice warm welcome for the head football coach at Colorado State, Jay Norvell.
Thank you.
How are you, sir?
Doing great.
Always great to catch up, and you know what? The summer always seems to go by pretty fast, Jay. And here we are, August 30th, and just days away from the season opener, year number 2. And you and I were here about, 365 days ago. I imagine you feel a little different here sitting here today than you did a year ago.
Yeah, absolutely. There's been a lot of changes, obviously, since we first got here, but really, really excited to get the season started. It's the best time of year. We've had a great training camp. And a great week of practice, and this is what we do. I'm a football coach. I came here to coach ball and coach a great team, and these kids all came to CSU to play football and represent this great university. So this is our best time of year.
Yeah, it certainly is. And how about the crowd here tonight for the season opening show? A lot of old faces, some new faces. Amazing. Great to see everybody here. I mean, the support for this show from Ram fans is phenomenal, and I think I had to park up almost on College Avenue when I arrived. I arrived a little late. I know you have a front row spot. They don't do that for the radio guy, but the support here has been phenomenal. Expecting a great crowd coming up on Saturday night. Rams and the Cougars of Washington State to kick it all off, a 5:02 kickoff. Still some tickets available, but inching closer to getting that stadium packed, which I know you guys will be excited about.
No, we can't wait to open in Canvas, and so excited to just start that first game at home and play in front of our fans. And our kids have been working hard. They've been working hard to show everybody what they've been working on these last few months, and it's a very different team. We have 49 new guys. Almost half our roster is brand new and haven't played a game in Canvas yet. And so we've been doing a lot of different things. We've been practicing celebrating, actually, and singing the fight song every night in training camp and getting those guys used to that. And so I think we're prepared for that, and we're ready to go.
All right, so here's what we have coming up on the first show of the season. Of course, we'll have Jay for a handful of segments. We'll talk about the roster here this year, go through the offense and defense, and obviously break down Washington State coming up in a little bit. Then later on the program, a couple of the student athletes are with us here. We have Jack Howell, the junior safety, and the all-conference safety at that. And then Henry Blackburn also in the house, another safety for Colorado State, the kid from Boulder. So we'll talk to both of those guys. And then the president of Colorado State University, Amy Parsons, is in the house here tonight. Round of applause for Amy, and she's going to join the program at the very end as well. And I'd be remiss not to mention your lovely wife, Kim, is Kimmy's also here as well. She's got the cowbell.
I haven't seen her cowbell.
The cowbell has caught on. It caught fire last year, and the cowbell, it continues into the Coors Light Jay Norvell Coaches Show this year. All right, well, Jay, let's talk about the offseason leading into here. Obviously, a lot of new players at Colorado State. You mentioned 49 new players, but no new coaches. There was no turnover in the coaching ranks for you. All your staff is back. I mean, that's got to be absolutely huge.
Yeah, it really is. And even the first opponent that we play, Washington State, has got 2 new coordinators. Right. And that was probably the biggest recruiting job that I had to do this first year is I really believe in my staff. We have a really great, young, talented staff of coaches with great experience. They're tremendous recruiters, and they're great mentors and leaders. And we quite possibly, we had a couple coaches that had opportunities to leave for Power 5 jobs, and we were able to talk them into staying and make it right for them. And I think that's the most important thing, going from your first season to your second season, having the continuity in your coaching staff, and your kids hearing the same message from their coaches. And so I'm just so proud of our staff. I think they've done a fabulous job of recruiting and a fabulous job of preparing this team for this season, and really excited to see this team come together.
Yeah, of course, Freddie Banks back as the defensive coordinator, year number 2 for Freddie, and a defense that played very well in Mountain West Conference play last season. We'll talk to, again, Jack and Henry coming up in a little bit. But one thing you talked about on Monday at your press conference was the maturity of this football team. And, of course, last year we saw you guys having to put freshmen out there, maybe when freshmen might not have been ready to play.
Right.
This year you may not have to rely on that. There's just a sense of maturity with this team.
I don't think we have a freshman in our two deep, to be honest with you. And it's very different than we were a year ago. I mean, we recruited, 12 new offensive linemen. But the kids that we brought in very specifically that had experience, that have been starters on other teams. They've been dependable players that their teammates could count on, and they have experience. And so we brought those experienced players in. We got 3 fabulous players from North Dakota State. I mean, they are all excellent players. Kobe Johnson, Tony Pierce, and Dom Jones, and they're excellent players. They're going to play a lot of good football for us, but they played on championship teams. They played in big games. They know how to prepare, and they've made a huge addition to us. A guy like Dallin Holker. Dallin's married. His wife, Taze, does amazing on our track team. He's already been on a mission in Chile for 2 years. He got up in front of the team and talked about his mission and, going and speaking to families and going into a home of 10 people that have dirt floors and they don't have enough food, but they're offering what food they have to them. And those life experiences are so important. Our offensive linemen, a couple of them are married. So just the maturity of our football team is very different from a year ago. We had several freshmen that were forced into action last year. And again, I don't believe we have a freshman in the 2 deep this year, so we don't have to do that this year.
Yeah. You talk about Dallin Holker, and again, a kid who played for 3 years at BYU, comes in. He's going to be your starting tight end. And I know you're looking forward to utilizing the middle of the field a little bit more here this year, something you weren't necessarily able to take full advantage of last year.
Yeah, and when we spread the football field, we have good receivers on the outside, but if people want to play cover 2 and double the outside, double Torrey, you got to have a threat down the middle and that can take advantage of that. And Dallin is an amazing receiver. He's got such a great feel for the passing game. Really bright, intelligent guy as well. You can do so many different things with him as a coach. And he just adds a completely different dimension to what we can do offensively. He's almost immediately become one of Clay's favorite targets. And so I just am really excited about the year that he can have. On top of the type of player he is, he's an amazing leader. Yeah. We've got 2 of our captains here tonight, Jack and Henry. But Dallin was voted captain, and for a guy that's only been here a couple of months, he's really made an impact on all of his teammates.
Yeah, and then you look at the other wide receivers to throw to, of course. Number 14 is back. It's going to be good to see Torrey Horton out there. And again, for my money, he's the best wide receiver in the Mountain West Conference. But you can call him really Torrey and the kids because you got a lot of younger receivers under Torrey that obviously a kid like Justice Ross Simmons, a breakout season last year. And then I know you've been very impressed by the performance of Lewis Brown, not only from the spring but here into the fall.
Lewis has had a great camp, and he's a tremendously talented guy. I think Justice and Lewis just needed to elevate the way that they practiced and competed every day to really take advantage of their ability. And we brought another kid in, Dylan Goffney from SMU, that's been a starter there, that brings us an experienced player that's competing with those guys. And I think we have 4 legitimate starters at wide receiver. They can all play, along with Dallin Holker. I think that gives Clay a lot of options. All
right, let's talk about Clay Millen. And last year took some lumps. It was his first year as a starter and sacked 55 times. But, boy, you get a year under your belt. I mean, how big of a difference is that going to make for Clay Millen this year?
I think it's huge. Clay was put in some tough situations, and when we got here, we really liked our young quarterbacks. We didn't really feel like we had a veteran guy that fit the mold for us. So we kind of, we bit our lip and took our medicine with Clay and some of the young guys he had to play with. But I think Clay's going to be much better for that experience. Sometimes you have to go through those growing pains before you really learn the hard lessons. And I think Clay's learned those lessons. I think he'll be much different in his maturity and his ability to distribute the ball. You can get rid of the football. He has a responsibility on a number of those sacks in his decision-making to get the ball gone. So I think that, along with our improvement on our offensive line, we're going to see a big difference in that area of our game.
It's funny. When you talk to Ram fans throughout the course of the summer, usually it's like, let's talk about the quarterback. Let's talk about the edge rusher. Let's talk about the star wide receiver. I think everywhere I went here this summer, folks want to know about the offensive line. Fans usually don't want to talk about the offensive line. You're probably sick of talking about the offensive line, but I know that's an area you guys worked hard to improve in the offseason.
Yeah, it was just an unusual situation. We just had to fill this roster with new linemen to make it healthy again. And so we went all over the country. I went from California to Philadelphia to New York City, up and down the coast. We went to almost every junior college that had a potential lineman. And we got a ton of good players to come. And we really looked at the profile that I mentioned of guys that had experience, that were big physical guys that could fit the role that we needed. We needed to be more physical. We needed tough guys. We needed guys that would fight for Clay. And, it was really, I wanted to personally, Bill Best and myself personally went and saw all these kids. And when I knocked on the door and I looked at them and I was looking down, I'm 6'2" and a half. If I looked down on them, it was a real short visit. I left pretty soon. But when I shake their hands and I look up at them and my hand would disappear in their hand, that was the right place. We sat down and we got comfortable. So, but we've gotten a full inch taller at every single position on our team. Every position is a full inch taller than a year ago, and I can't say that I've ever been a part of a program where we could say that. Yeah. But we've dramatically changed the physical qualities of the players on the field. I had a good friend of mine that was from the Senior Bowl that I coached with his father with the Raiders. It was at practice yesterday. And he just looked around at our kids and he says, you got some really good-looking kids, and they don't look like they did last year. And that's a good thing.
Yep, that's really been the general consensus of most of the folks that have gone out to practice, whether it be in the media or whatnot. This team looks different. All right, just getting started here tonight live at CBM Potts. We're in Fort Collins, the Coors Light Jay Norvell Coaches Show. We'll be right back. Stay with us right here on the Colorado State Sports Network from Learfield.
Saturday.
Ian Potts, Fort Collins, we're at Collindale. Of course, Jay Norvell Coaches Show. Great to have again everybody with us here tonight. Brian Roth along with head coach Jay Norvell. Tonight's show presented by Bank of Colorado. There's only one Colorado. There's only one CSU and one bank that cheers as loud as you do. It's Bank of Colorado. There's only one. All right, Jay, again, Washington State coming up on a Saturday night. Season opener at Canvas Stadium. We'll talk about the Cougars in just a moment. We kind of did an overview of the offense. Let's start talking about that defense.
Yep.
And again, we mentioned Freddie Banks is back. Your number 2 is the defensive coordinator. And I just go up and down that defensive two-deep. Experience up along the defensive line. I think you have the best pass rusher in the league. And then you go to the very back end. I think it's the best safety tandem in the entire Mountain West Conference too.
No doubt. I agree with you. And you know, and I think we got Jack and Henry some help back there. I think I really like some of the corners that we've added. You know, and Ron Harge and Dom Jones are both long guys that can get their hands on you and run and cover. They both have experience. Ron coming from Oregon State and then Dom coming from North Dakota State. I just think we have more depth. You know, those guys played a ton of special team snaps as well, Henry, Jack, and so we got to, you know, carry some of that load for them this year. But I think, you know, we've added some really critical additions. You know, Newer, I can't wait to see Newer Gottooth play. You know, he was not eligible last year as a defensive end, and he's been a fabulous addition in practice, just the things that he can do. You know, I'm anxious to see Chase Wilson play. I mean, at linebacker and the speed and athletic ability that he brings to the position. I just think we're more athletic. I think we're more experienced. And I think we have more depth, which just adds to the competition and how we can practice.
Let's continue to stay along the defensive line. You're going to really be able to rush the passer this year. Obviously, Mo Camara coming back, 16 sacks combined in the last 2 seasons. I remember Freddie Banks telling me last year about Newer and said, watch out for this kid.
Yep.
In the spring, he said, watch out for this kid.
Yep.
I know Newer was out a bit in the spring. And then talked to Freddie a couple of weeks ago. He goes, so how's Newer? And he goes, watch out for this kid. And so he's high on him. But you have guys that can rush the passer.
Yes.
You mentioned the Pierce coming off the issue from North Dakota State.
Yeah, you got Newer, and then you got Tony Pierce. Yep. And Tony Pierce is an experienced college player that's played a lot of football. And so along with Newer, and then you got McKendy back there. I mean, we've got several.
Marshawn Oxley's had a good
Marshawn's had a really good camp. You know, Kennedy McDowell's a young kid that can come in and, you know, he's got a lot of pass rush ability, and so I think he may be in there in some packages as well. So we have a number of guys. We can kind of throw waves of players at people, and then it gives Coach Banks a lot of flexibility in third down because now he can kind of play with these pass rushers and maybe play multiple defensive ends in that front to really get after the passer.
Yeah, he calls that the cheetah package
Yes.
when they do that. And, I don't think there's any question the Rams are going to be able to rush the passer this year. You go to linebacker, and I know Ram fans sometimes see, boy, you lose Cameron Carter, Daquan Jackson, who is about as good of a student athlete as you're going to find, a great leader. 2 guys that played a lot of football for you, had a lot of career stops for you. Why are you confident that the linebacking core you have this year can step in and fill, maybe even exceed those?
I just think we've added a couple guys. We're more athletic. We can run. And by the way, somebody told me Daquan made the practice squad. I don't know if that's accurate, but I hope it is.
Right.
And what a great guy he is. But I think we're more athletic. I think we run better. And we got 4 or 5 guys that can all run and hit. And I think it's going to be by committee there, you know, and I think Chase is the leader of that group that really has led. And I'm going to tell you, Chase is an amazing player. He's so smart, and he has such a great football temperament. I love his football temperament. He loves to play the game. He's super aggressive, but he's also very smart and very athletic, and that just fits really well in Coach Banks' system.
Yeah, Chase, again, a guy's kind of waited his turn and had to battle through some injuries as well early in his career. But, man, it looks like his turn is going to be here. And, of course, if you remember the New Mexico game, to close out the season, Rams win that 17-0 to kind of send that season off on a positive note. Chase was the best defender for you that day, had
Yep.
2.5 sacks in the contest. All right, talk specifically about the two young men we're going to bring up here on stage in just a moment. Henry Blackburn, senior from Boulder, Jack Howell, the junior from down in Denver.
Well, these two guys, obviously, they're very talented, but I think the thing that really sets them apart is their football intelligence and their passion for the game. I told them, I said, hey, our goal is we want to have a championship football team, and so if that's our goal, when we come out here to practice for a couple hours a day, it ought to be like a party. Everybody ought to be jumping up and down, excited. I don't have to tell these two twice. Every time we call a team up, they're jumping up, bouncing on each other, belly bumping each other. I mean, practice is fun when you got guys like this to be around every day. And I think, this is a fun team to be around. As a coach, I love coming to practice every day. I love going to meetings. I just like being around these guys because these guys have so much fun on the field. You can tell when a team cares about each other because you can see how much fun they have practicing. And that is going to go a long way for this football team. And these two guys, they're two of the best leaders that we have.
Yeah, again, we'll have Jack Howell and Henry Blackburn coming up in just a moment. And then just to kind of round out the defense on your cover guys. Obviously, these guys cover too. They thump as well. But, boy, you bring back Chiggy Anusium, who was your best cover corner last year. And then you kind of briefly mentioned the two newcomers. Ron Harge coming over from Oregon State.
Yes.
And then you have Dom Jones.
Yes, Dom. And it's funny because Dom's wearing Chiggy's old number, and
It confused the
you
heck
could
out of
hardly
me.
tell them apart.
I had no idea
they
what
look the
was going
same out there. They have the same
do.
frame, the same body type. They move similarly, but just really difficult. I mean, when you have guys that are that tall and that can run like that, it's hard to get away from them as an offensive player, and that length is really important. And we've got Chiggy who can cover. We got Dom Jones who can cover. We got Ron Harge who can cover. Aiden Hector is a really good cover guy in a nickel. And most teams don't have that. Most teams don't have more than one or two good cover guys. And the way spread football is today, where people spread the field and you got to be able to cover in the slot and both outside and inside receivers, those guys can really match up and they can really cover. I want to say the other part of that is, it makes us a better football team. Our offensive players have to go against these guys every single day, and they're pressing you and playing man coverage and not giving you the air. It makes your team better, and that's one of the things I talked to Coach Banks. When I hired Freddie, is that's what we want to establish here. We want to play suffocating defense. We don't want to give the team anything easy, and you have to be willing to play man coverage to do that. And so we see it all the time in practice. We see it every day from our defense. It's making our young offensive players better every day. And I think our guys have a ton of confidence in playing it.
Yeah, again, it's a Ram defense that only gave up 19 points per game in Mountain West Conference play, and I know it's a number they probably think that they can improve on here this year. All right, approaching the halfway mark here of the program tonight. Stay with us as we'll be back here. CB and Potts, we're in Collindale. Coors Light, Colorado State Sports Network. Side to CB&, Potts Restaurant and Tap Room. We are in Fort Collins tonight. Absolutely jam-packed CB&, Potts here tonight. Of course, season opener, and I think everybody is ready to get football season underway. The Rams will do just that on Saturday night. Get to open at home here this year. Washington State comes into Canvas Stadium for a 5:02 kickoff. Brian Roth, head coach Jay Norvell, back with you. All right, let's talk about the Washington State Cougars, a team that went 7-6 last year. They did go to a bowl game. Mm-hmm. They come back here this year, and I know talking to some of the folks in Pullman this year, they feel like they have just as good, if not a better team than they had last year.
Yeah, they got a lot of new players, like we have a lot of new players, a lot of new transfers, a lot of kids at their wide receiver position that were transfers. Their quarterback is back. But this team is really, it's kind of like looking in the mirror when you see them. They play a very similar style offense that we play, an air raid style of offense, and a very similar style of defense. And so I think all training camp, offense and defense, we've been showing each other things that we're going to see in this first game. And it's really, it's a pretty good first game for us in that regard because we're very familiar with the schemes that we're going to see from this team.
So the schemes that Washington State bring in, they mirror your schemes. They do have two new coordinators. You mentioned that, a new offensive coordinator and a new defensive coordinator. Did the schemes change much from last season?
Really not too much. You know, their offensive coordinator came in from Western Kentucky and did a lot of similar spread things that we do. You know, and then their defense, their head coach is a defensive guy, and they're going to run that system. Ain't going to change a whole lot. So I just think that, you know, I think we're going to see a lot of things that we've seen on tape. And it's the first game of the year, so you can always see some wrinkles and things that you haven't seen. But we're really excited to play this team, and there are a lot of similarities to the styles.
I know you guys feel like you're a different football team, obviously, than the team that went up to Pullman last year. And they got off to such a fast start against you guys and had you on your heels. Played better in the second half for sure. But when you look at their offense, the quarterback, Cameron Ward, threw for 4 touchdowns last year. And I thought he did a great job of keeping plays alive and moving the pocket against you last season.
Yeah, we couldn't have played any worse than we played last year. And that's just the truth. And, you know, and it's interesting. Over the years, we've played this team, and we've always been going through some kind of dysfunction when we played them. And so, you know, we talked about that on Monday with the team. And, you know, one of the first things that I talked to the team about when we came back to training camp, there's 3 things that happen when you make a mistake. The first thing, you got to admit it, you made it. Second thing you got to do is correct it. But the third thing you got to do is not do it again. And we had some lessons last year that we can't repeat. And this is our first opportunity to correct it. And that's what we plan to do.
Yep, so. Indeed. I know Ram fans happy to hear that, and I haven't been out of practice watching you guys. I believe that as well. Good news about the Washington State defense. They do bring back the 2 defensive ends, but that linebacker, your old friend Dayon Henley, is not in the lineup. So that's a good thing.
Their best player was our guy.
That's right, was your guy. And he was a 3rd-round draft pick
we recruited
from the Chargers.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, he transferred from Nevada. We recruited him. He was our guy.
I think he had like 12
our guys are spread out all over the place.
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing, all our players.
Well, it's not hard to believe based on some of the early recruiting that you and your staff have done already here at Colorado State. All right, just final thought. Just give us a sense of how excited you are, not just to have football season here, but just to open it in front of the home fans at Canvas State. Hey, if the volleyball game the other night had anything to do with it, the students are going to be geeked up for this game on Saturday.
I tell you what, all of our sports on campus, we use all of those as selling points. You know, the atmosphere at the volleyball game, the success of the soccer team last week, all those environmental experiences, we sell it in recruiting.
Yeah.
I mean, we tell everybody about the great environment here. I'm so excited to see all these familiar faces and all our friends that we saw last year. And we couldn't be more excited to open in Canvas. We want canvas to be a hornet's nest. And I've said this before, but when the fans come to canvas, you're part of the game. It's not like you're just watching it on TV. You're part. The fans are so close to the field. The players can feel your presence. The coaches can feel your presence when you're in canvas. So we love it. We want that place to go crazy. We want to see the lights flickering on and off in not only just in the third quarter, but the whole game. Yep. So we can't wait.
Absolutely, Jay. Thanks so much. Best of
Thank
luck.
you.
Head coach Jay Norvell. Get out to Canvas Stadium on Saturday night. Don't go anywhere. We have Henry Blackburn and we have Jack Howe coming up next on the Colorado State Sports Network from Learfield.
Saturdays are made
Coors Light, Jay Norvell Coaches Show live from CB & Potts Restaurant and Tap Room. We're at Collindale tonight in Fort Collins as we continue along here. A couple more segments here on the program. Hey, Ram fans, don't forget it's a new era for college athletics, and the Green and Gold Guard, the official collective of Colorado State Athletics, they invite you to support our CSU athletes in their drive to make a difference in our Colorado community. And you can help. Visit theggguard.com today, and you can join the Guard. The Green and Gold Guard is a proud partner of Colorado State Athletics. John Weber in the house. Appreciate John's hard work with the Green and Gold Guard. Very, very important. All right, 2 segments left. Time to bring in student athletes and help us welcome Jack Howell and Henry Blackburn to the stage.
For real, and that's what we're most excited about, because I think we're kind of getting sick of hitting each other. We kind of want to go out there and hit somebody else for once.
It's always that way, and once you get to game week, it's like, man, we're sick and tired of seeing our offense rather lined up across us. All right, well, Henry, second year in this defensive system, second year with defensive coordinator Freddie Banks. How big of a difference does that make, and how much more comfortable are you guys?
I'd say our whole defense is just gelling together really well. And I'd say even on and off the field, our team is just coming together. And that's the biggest thing, is that the guys are really – you can tell everybody cares about each other and everybody's bought in. And just the attention to detail and the execution has just been so much higher than it was at last year. And going into year 2, now everybody knows their job. Everybody knows each other's jobs. And we can just play with that level of trust with each other that we know that we're going to do our job and that you're going to do your job.
Yeah, Jack, I imagine it's less thinking, more reacting this year.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, last year, I think we finally hit our groove kind of towards the last half of the season on defense, and, it started to flow really well, and I'm lucky to be able to play with him and Aiden Hector in the back or in the secondary, and, it makes my job a lot easier just knowing that I have him over top, so I can go full speed into a tackle, and if I miss, he's back there, and, I can play aggressive coverage because, I'll be backed up, so it's awesome.
Yeah, Jack, elaborate on that, about the chemistry that has to exist between the 2 safeties out there on the field.
Yeah, it's huge, especially in this defense. Me and Henry have to talk to each other almost every single play to make sure we're doing the right assignment and we're on the same page, because if we mess up, then it's going to be a touchdown, and especially at DB is a D lineman can mess up, an O lineman can mess up, but if you mess up at DB, it's going to result in a big play. And we kind of like having that pressure, though, honestly. It makes it fun and makes us have to trust each other, and we've built a great bond on and off the field, and I think that's helped us out a lot.
Yeah, a couple of the Ram safeties joining us here on the show tonight, Jack Howell, Henry Blackburn, and boy, it's nice when you're out there, Henry, and you have some solid cover corners. And I'm looking at the guys at cornerback this year. It's the best core of cornerbacks that I think I've seen here at CSU maybe in the last 6, 7, 8 years.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously Chiggy Inuzium, he's a guy. He's a stud. He's looking to play in the league next year after this year. And then with the addition of Dom Jones and Dominic Morris as well as Ron Harge, there's a lot of guys who can play, and so it'll be fun to just see these guys go out there and play. And I haven't been able to strap it up with them in a game yet, but I'm really excited to get it going with those guys. Yeah,
and there's some young kids that are kind of making a mark here early this year. I know T.J. Crandall and Jalen Gardner also, Henry, are 2 guys that have kind of stood out.
Yeah, absolutely. Those guys are picking it up fast. Sometimes freshmen they kind of get confused by college football and how fast it is, but those guys have been picking it up really fast, and they're going to be good players. And another guy is Jace Bella. He's had a really good camp, and he's been showing that he can go out there and play. So, it's just good having depth. We have depth all with our freshmen and throughout the whole team, which is really good.
Yeah, Jace Bell, another Colorado kid. He's a Pueblo South guy, wears number 37 walk-on, and I know he's probably going to get some playing time here this year with you guys on the back end. All right, Washington State. What goes through your mind, Jack, when you watched that film last year, that Washington State game?
Yeah, kind of like Coach Norvell said, anything that could have went wrong went wrong. It frustrated me and Henry. We were watching extra film all summer long and going in the meeting room, and I'm looking at the screen. I'm like, what was I doing the entire time? Just didn't have the defense fully figured out at the time, and we were trying to figure out who needed to play where, and definitely didn't have the guys that we have right now. And so it's going to be different. And, me personally, I want to get back at him, as embarrassing as it was last year, it's not going to be the same way. And I'm fully confident that Coach Norvell has this team in shape now, and we just can't wait to go play for him.
And Henry, an experienced quarterback for Washington State, and Cameron Ward. And last year it just seemed like he was extending plays and moving the pocket. How do you defend him on Saturday night?
The biggest thing is just relentless effort on our end. We just have to focus on our job. And, they're a new team as well, so they're going to have a lot of different schemes and stuff. So we just have to focus on what our job is and our fundamentals and our execution, and we'll have a good night. And the biggest thing is just the effort. The level of effort that we need to play with as a defense needs to be through the roof, and that's something that we've been working on, that we've been harping on all camp, and running to the ball, relentless effort from our D-line, relentless effort in coverage. That's the thing that's going to win us this game. And when you play a good quarterback like that, you need to be really tight on your execution.
Well, I know a lot of Ram fans are excited to go watch this defense not only Saturday night but the rest of the year. And one of the big reasons why are the safeties. So that safety tandem, that's you guys, obviously. So, hey, best of luck. We'll see you out there on Saturday night.
Thanks so much
Appreciate
for having us.
All right. Let's jack out Henry Blackburn. Final timeout of the night, and we'll be joined by the president of Colorado State University, Amy Parsons. That's next on the Colorado State Sports Network from Learfield. Jay Norvell Coaches Show. It's been a festive night, as it should be, as football season is finally upon us. And again, a big thank you to our student athletes coming out tonight in Jack Howell and Henry Blackburn. And well, the hits just keep on coming. Please help us welcome Amy Parsons, the 16th president at Colorado State. Amy, thank you so much. How are you, ma'am?
I'm great. Thanks for having me. This is my first coaches show.
First coaches show. Well,
Yeah.
we're gonna take it easy on you.
Okay,
then.
please do. Thanks.
What do you think of the atmosphere? I mean, here tonight. I mean, how about the pride here from Ram Nation, and then to be represented by such fine student athletes is just kind of the cherry on top.
It doesn't get any better than this. How great are Henry and Jack? Thank you guys for being out here. You represent us so well and make us proud. And yeah, just seeing all the alums and all the fans out here is just so exciting.
This is your first fall semester. You got hired back in February. I remember talking to you at a basketball game. And I don't drink it out of a fire hose, but how much fun has it been to be president when you get all the students and the energy they bring with them back to campus?
It's the best time of the year. I mean, this is our first week of class, so we welcomed another great big CSU class. So more than 5,000 first-year students just moved back to campus. And like you said, seeing how many of those students showed up for volleyball last Friday night was our biggest student turnout we've had for a volleyball game. It was so exciting to see that. And then we had a great turnout for our first win for women's soccer as well. So like you mentioned before, seeing the students really rally around our fall sports and those teams, I think that bodes really well for the turnout, coach, that we're going to have on Saturday. I think it's going to be amazing.
And not only is the game coming up on Saturday, it's at home, but it's on campus. And I know you had your hand in bringing college football back to campus here at Colorado State. And I know when you get out there on Saturday, you're going to be on cloud nine.
I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm so excited. I think a lot of people are going to be excited on Saturday, but I think I might be the most excited person in the whole state of Colorado to be at our on-campus stadium on Saturday in this role and seeing it all. I mean, I believe so much in the stadium and what it brings to Colorado State University and what it's done for our campus, and you know, those places that we have on campus that make memories for our students, that's what they're going to remember for the rest of their lives, right? I was a student at CSU. I made great memories, you know, at Hughes and at Moby, and now I'm a parent of a student at CSU, and I see her making memories at CSU, and just this week bringing all of the new students to campus, they all come out onto the field and take pictures with their families. And it just warms my heart. I was out there with them, and I see them taking their pictures on the field with their families, and I see them taking the big CSU picture on there, and we're really just starting to get that amazing culture on campus. Then everybody goes to the game, right? And that's what you do. On Saturdays, everybody turns out for the game. So I just can't tell you what I'm going to feel on Saturday. It's just going to be such a privilege to be there.
Well, there's a great sense of community when you get to campus for college football. And I know one of the things I admire about Jay and his staff is they really tried to integrate themselves into the Fort Collins community, the Colorado community. I know you and your staff, since you were hired, that's been a big time objective for you and your team too.
Yeah, it's so important. I'm really proud of Jay and the team that he's built here and how they have really worked with the entire campus community and then all of Fort Collins, right? Just being out there and being a good part of the community and student leaders like we've got here in Henry and Jack. You know, I mean, you're not just leaders on the team, you're leaders at CSU, and the students know you, they're going to remember you, and you really set the pace for students in good sportsmanship and camaraderie on campus. So I'm really proud of everything that they're building, although Coach Norvell just taught me a few minutes ago, and he said that what we're building is a hornet's nest, I think you said at Canvas Day, and I asked him about that. I'm like, are we making a hornet's nest at Canvas? And he said, yeah, you want to make it really annoying for the opposing team. I'm like, all right, I can get on board with that. So while we're great in our community, CSU and Fort Collins, apparently we're also building a hornet's nest for the opposition. I'm good with that too.
All right, the president of Colorado State, Amy Parsons, joining us here in the show. About 2 minutes left here, but obviously there's been a bunch of changes in college athletics and college football. Can you talk to Ram fans about how you view CSU as positioned to have success not only now, but have success as we move into the future?
Yeah, I mean, any athletic conference would be lucky to have Colorado State University in their conference, right? I mean, anyone would be lucky to have us, and we're an asset to any group that we play in. And, you know, we're proud to be members of the Mountain West. Mountain West is a great conference, but, you know, we work hard to be at the top of our game, right? Athletically, academically, research-wise, our community. And so, you know, we just keep building on that excellence, and we're going to be great players wherever we are.
All right, a final thought. What is the plan on Saturday for the president of Colorado State University? I'm sure you got a couple of pages list of what you have to do.
I'm going to see everybody. But the most exciting thing, actually, on Saturday, it's my birthday.
Whoa.
So it's like, what better birthday can I have than it's our first home game on campus in Canvas Stadium.
Fabulous.
So I get to wake up on my birthday and just, do it all. And I get to ring the bell, which I've never done before. So I get to ring the bell at Canvas. I'm going to be at all the tailgates. And so hopefully I'll see everybody en route.
Well, if you see Amy Parsons on campus on Saturday, you better wish her happy birthday. Serendipitous the way that things work out. Sometimes, Amy, thank you so much. We appreciate you coming out, and we appreciate you being such a strong proponent for Colorado State athletics.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. I'll see you all out there on Saturday. Thanks for coming out tonight.
All right, there's Amy Parsons, president of Colorado State University. That's going to wrap up the program tonight. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you on Saturday from Canvas.
From CB and Potts Restaurant and Tap Room in Fort Collins.